y'all, let's talk. Let's try this again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. I got a question for you. What opens with reading school interrupted? Daniel's reading school is interrupted. Daniel is beat down after he sends his daughter off running as fast as she can. And what ends with Rosalie branded? There's some themes that run throughout this episode. If you've guessed that it was Underground Season 2, Episode 7, which is entitled 28, you are correct. Does this look fuzzy to you? Y'all, it's one of them days. Okay, so some themes that run throughout this is trust and revenge, and the theme of freedom. Kato says in one instance, ain't nobody free. And I would add to that, and everybody is free. At the same time that, you know, freedom is a state of mind. So as long as you're free in your mind, you're free. And if you're not free in your mind, you ain't free. Even when, you know, someone has tried to enslave your body, they can't enslave your mind. Okay, so, and then another thing, I want to try to start referring to Patty Cannon as Putrid Cannon, because we know how vile and, you may or may not know, but if I call her Putrid, that reminds us of how vile and disgusting she is and how she makes us want to throw up. And I heard somebody on a video, I wish I love watching your videos when you just do them sporadically about Underground, but you were like, you know, about how they don't have, in your opinion, Patty Cannon's character is not drawn, you know, disgustingly enough. She's too articulate, she's too clean, she's too attractive. And, you know, I feel like, you know, it's an artistic piece, or it's a work of fiction, so there's going to be some artistic license. But I think that, you know, the lifestyle that she's living is vile and putrid and disgusting. So let's try to remember to call her by her proper name, Putrid Cannon. My boobies are still showing here. Let's have some decorum, ladies. Let's have some decorum. So if I'm Angela, the channel is Be Fabulous You. If you want to stick around for my review of Underground, I'm going to try to talk quick. Y'all know it's a lot going on. We're back, and we're back. So there are three main storylines outside of the Daniel storyline. The Daniel storyline was just a vignette that we got at the beginning, so you basically got that. The other storylines this episode, they didn't really intersect story-wise, even though the way that the TV show went, they intersected. But none of the characters in any of the storylines touched each other. So we're going to start with Kato, Putrid Cannon, and Devi. So Kato is being beat and tortured by Patty, Putrid Cannon, and company. They wax his, I think they're wax, I don't know what they're pouring on his face, but I think it's wax, and she shaves his eyebrows. And can I just say that this man, to me, he looks very different when they shave him. I'm like, what in the world? Now, I used to wear my hair shaved, but I had eyebrows, so I don't know if it was the lack of eyebrows that made him look really weird, but I'm like, that is not an attractive look at all. I didn't really understand what that was about. I know he wasn't choosing that look, but I don't know what she was doing. But she wants him on his crew so that he can gain the trust and lure black folks for her kidnapping campaign. And he says, you can't break me. And she says, I know I can't break you, but I want you to know the many ways that I can break your girl, Devi, who at the end of the last episode where we saw them, Devi was grabbed up by Putrid Cannon and her crew, who had, they had, you know what, crashed Kato's coming out abolitionist fundraising party, and ended up killing all his people off and, you know, taking over the house. Because at the end of the episode, Putrid Cannon was like, ooh, I must stay here. This is a nice house. So I knew, you know, I'm like, oh, Lord, you know, Kato, you know, he done, you know, all the way up and, you know, started from the bottom, all the way up. Now he back to the bottom. Patty Cannon, then the next thing we see Patty Cannon negotiating with some judges in an already rigged system. The system is built on, but the country was founded on this idea of black and brown people being inferior and less than and not fully human in the way that we were treated and in the way that it was written into the founding papers of this country. So the system is already not designed for our benefit. It's designed for the benefit of rich white men with property and power. But then with the Fugitive Slave Act of I think it was 1850, and I think it was the Fugitive Slave Act, but I remember hearing at some point that a lot of judges were in a situation, and I thought it was universal, but it probably wasn't. Each jurisdiction probably had their own situation going. I don't know if it was like a national thing, but I had heard that basically if a judge heard a case like, oh, this is Angela Riley, and she says that she's a free woman from, you know, she been free living in New Orleans all her life for several generations, or got her free papers the other day, or she live in Philadelphia and she free, her family been free for generations, whatever the story is, and somebody else is saying, this is Angela Riley, runaway, she escaped from my plantation, that, you know, it was the judge who was hearing the case who had to hear the evidence, the quote-unquote evidence. Now, how you gonna hear evidence declaring or trying to not declare that somebody that one person belongs to another person? That don't even make sense unless you've bought into some bullshit system that you can own me, and you can't. So that's bullshit. So the whole conversation is some bullshit just to begin with. But the way that it was set up in this bullshit conversation, in this rigged system, in this rigged country, is that if you judge that Angela Riley was enslaved, that judge got $10. If you judged based on the evidence that Angela Riley was free, that judge got $5. Now on this TV show, it was $10 for judging me enslaved and $0 for judging me free. So I don't really know a lot about, I don't know if that's what's historically accurate, but I had heard something slightly different, but same general idea. But Patty is meeting up with these judges, and she basically like, look, when you hear a case, you get $10 if you judge them free. She doesn't say this, but I'm just thinking from a business perspective, let's say you get, 10 cases a year or 10 cases a month. That's $100 extra. 10 times 10. Is that right? That's $100 extra in your pocket if you judge them to be enslaved. Now, if you work with me, you'll get $7 extra in your pocket. Give me 3, but instead of you getting 10 a month or 10 a year, I'm gonna make sure that you get 50, 25, 100, whatever, so that it makes it financially even better for you. You do less work. All you got to do is say that it's a case of mistaken identity. I was telling y'all before my recording stopped that I was dating this guy, and we had stopped dating, and then I saw him with this woman, and I'm like, now me and this woman don't look alike, but if some people described us, we could be described as alike. Or she didn't look alike to me, maybe we looked alike to him, but she was slim, she was chocolate, she had short natural hair, and she wore glasses. So you could just say judges. You don't have to, you're not selling people into slavery, free people into slavery. It's just a case of mistaken identity. If anybody catches you or challenges you or questions you, you could say, oh, I thought that was Angela Riley. I didn't know that was Nicole or whatever her name is. The same general description to me. And then we also know from the, we don't know, but they've illustrated from the papers when they were describing, like when they described Cato. Cato even said on the last episode that they described that he was shorter than what Monster Tom described him as when he had written down papers to try to get people to hunt this person down and bring him back to him being enslaved by Monster Tom. And when they first did in episode 1, when they did the description of the Macon 7, some of the descriptions didn't really seem right to me or to my eyes. So I thought it was interesting when that came back up in 2 episodes ago, not the Harriet Tubman episode, but the episode before that. So, she talking to the white people, to the judges in front of Cato, and then she has this thing where, so she's saying, I can get you an endless supply of black and brown bodies, so that's more money for you. You can profit within the law. It's all legal, and we know that legal and right are 2 different things sometimes. Legal don't always mean right, and what's right is not always legal. And then there's a scene which reminded me of a scene in season 1. In season 1, after the Macon 7 left, Monster Tom was questioning all of the black folks on the plantation, on the work camp, on the prison, trying to figure out how this escape happened right under his nose without him knowing, because he thought everybody loved him and loved being enslaved and wanted to stay there. So he upset, he mad, he's disillusioned, he confused, so he's questioning people. Now Sam was supposed to run, but he didn't end up, it looked like, getting the nerve up to run. When the time came, he just decided to stay. But when Monster Tom is questioning him, he's standing there, he's talking to him with a gun. Sam is like, oh no, he's about to shoot me. But Monster Tom ain't even thinking about shooting Sam. Sam is his boy. Sam is his boy in his mind, and so he's gonna show Sam how to shoot. And so he gives Sam the gun, and he stands in front of Sam with his back turned toward Sam while he's explaining to him how to shoot. And Sam thinks about shooting at him. He kind of lowers the gun down to him, and then he ends up raising it up and shooting at the bird or whatever, you know, they were throwing out. But in this scene, Putrid Cannon gives Kato the gun, and it's somehow she's trying to show the judges how dumb he is, and he takes the gun. She thinks, or she instructs him to shoot at a fake pigeon. He takes the gun, he hesitates for a moment, and then he turns the gun on her and the judges. The judges are scared. She laughs and opens up her hand, and she has the bullet in there. It wasn't, you know, there was no bullet in the gun. So she was very secure and trusting and confident because she knew that she had disarmed his ass. Now in season 1, Monster Tom was very trusting, secure, and confident. I guess because he felt that he had disarmed Sam mentally and emotionally and through the system. But it's just really interesting, and it's like a really, it's been striking to me, just the confidence that these people have with, you know, giving black folks guns, given, you know, the history. But in this scene, Patty didn't have that same, Putrid didn't have that same confidence. Okay, so we see that scene. So we, you know, they kind of are hipping us to, you know, the prophet. And, you know, we have judges today. We had a judge maybe a couple months ago who was found to be selling children to prisons, which are plantations, modern, you know, plantations. I don't know if they modern day plantations, but they're plantations. But he would find children guilty of crimes that they weren't guilty of, and then they would go to jail. And then, you know, once they're in jail, they use them, they're enslaved. You know, so that's the system. It's been the system. It continues to be the system. So, you know, we have an illustration of that. And the profit motive or whatever, because I mean, it's all whatever, that's whole. And then we have a scene with Kato in a bathhouse, and there's a man he's talking to, another black man, and the black man is basically like saying he don't trust nobody, he don't have no connections. And Kato is like, yeah, you know, you don't trust nobody, you know, you don't have no connections, and that's why nobody is gonna notice your ass is missing. And then they start fighting because Kato is about to sell him or catch him, or you know, showing Patty Cannon or Putrid Cannon and her crew that he can, you know, catch up people. And he's made a deal for his life and for baby girl Devi's life that he'll catch 30 people, and then he'll be free. He'll catch 30 people, and then she'll be free. So 60 people, and both of them are free. But, you know, I was thinking about in season 1, when Putrid Cannon made a deal with Noah, and she said, you tell me the name of, you know, the person who's been helping you, the white person who's been helping you, and I'll set you free. And Noah gave her a name. It wasn't a true name, but she didn't know that. But she didn't set him free. She's a liar. So I don't trust her behind. And then the other thing that I want to say is, just going back to character, I remembered also that in season 1, Noah was free. You know, he wasn't caught up, and he had given all of those enslaved people who were in the jails, a lot of them he had given guns and set them free. And he was hiding, and he saw this young man, this little boy, 14, 15, who had got caught up with somebody, and Noah is watching, and he really didn't want to be involved because he like, dang, I'm free, I done already set this little boy free, you know, or gave him a chance. Oh well, he could have said, you had your chance, I'm not gonna get involved. But Noah got involved, and it was when he got involved and that little boy got another chance to run away that then Putrid Cannon ended up hitting him from behind. So, you know, when we want to compare Noah's character and Cato's character, I had forgotten that. And that was an instance where he didn't know that young man. He didn't have, it wasn't really any motive for him. It wasn't anything for him to prove. We were watching, we're the invisible camera. He don't know we watching. You know, the actual character, the real person, fake person character don't know he's being watched. He's just doing what's in his nature. So Cato, you know, kind of fights with the man, and then we see a shot from outside of the bathhouse. The two white men are waiting out there. We don't know who gonna come out the bathhouse, but of course it's Cato who comes out. So, but anyway, Cato wins, and it reminds us of a scene when Super Slave Catcher fights with Super Slave Catcher August fights with Patty Cannon's main man, Patrick Cannon's main man. I can't remember his name, but he was big in season 1, and they're like in the barn house, and they show us a shot from outside, and then August comes out. So it's like a similar type of vibration. And when the man is like, I got papers, and they're catching him up and about to, you know, Cato has sold him down the river or sold him wherever or whatever. The man is like, I got papers, I'm free, I'm free. And Cato says to him, ain't none of us free. So then we have a scene where Devi is talking to Cato, and she's like, you know, what's up? What's going on? What's the story? And he's like, I done made a deal. Devi is like, you can't sell me. I'm not even American. And again, that theme of, you know, I ain't American. Y'all done stole my ass from Africa, and you called me American, you know, whatever. But it ain't nothing legitimate about enslaving Africans, whether they were born here or born anywhere. It's no more legitimate than enslaving Indians or enslaving anybody. There is no legitimacy to enslaving anybody. No, baby girl, you don't have to be American to be enslaved. It ain't no rules when you doing unruly shit. But she's like, they can't, you know, and sell me. I'm not even American. And he like, look, I done worked a deal. I catch 30 people for each of us. And she's like, basically, my freedom does not have more value than anyone else's freedom. So no, you don't, you know, catch up 30 people, not even one person. Let me be enslaved. And he like, you don't know nothing about slavery in this country. You've been living the life in England. You don't know nothing about what you're getting yourself into. And she's like, no, my life is not more valuable than 30 people's lives. And he's like, you don't understand. And she's like, I do understand, Cato. You are a bad man. You came back to this horrible country, and you use this horrible country as an excuse for you to be a bad person. And I actually, you know, I think I agree. Even though I don't feel like Cato is perpetually bad or stuck in badness, and I don't think that he has only done evil, but I think that he is caught mentally in a trick bag. I think just like when he tried to catch Noah up in that trick bag of, you know, you let these, you agree to go back down south and be enslaved, and I'll let these 7 people free. That's some bullshit. And what he's doing is some bullshit. You know, oh, I'm gonna catch up I have to catch up these 30 people because, you know, in order for me to be free. Your ass has already escaped once from down south, and you escaped when you were hanging upside down, shot in the leg with an arrow, and you know, 5 people were on you. So you's a bad mother brother. So you know, yeah, I have to agree with Devi, and I thought that it was a good point. And you know, I just feel like something was illustrated. But she says, you know, you're a bad man. You need this horrible country to justify what you do. You want to say, oh, I'm bad, or I have to do this because of America, or oh, I'm bad and I have to do this because of Patty Cannon, Putrid Cannon. But you're just a bad man. That's basically what she's saying. You're doing bad shit. You're doing evil stuff because your ass is evil. You know, you got issues. You know, you've been enslaved. Dang, y'all. Maybe I should turn the car off. Maybe the vibration is the problem. I got this thing plugged in and sitting on the steering wheel. It's not a stable system at all. So, you know, and so here we come to the title of the thing. So initially, Cato had made an agreement with Patty Cannon to catch up 60 folks that she could sell into slavery, and then in exchange for that he would get his freedom. I say that in air quotes. And Devi would get her freedom. But now he has a conversation with Putrid Cannon, and she says something about his debt, and he says that it's not it's no longer 60, and she's like, oh yeah, that's right, the number is 59 now, and he's like, no, 28. And we see Devi being, you know, captured, or, you know, put in, you know, I guess they about to sell her. So you know, that's what he goes from 60 to 28. So he's not gonna work off the debt for Debbie. He don't owe that bitch. He don't owe that woman nothing. He does not owe her a debt of anybody's. But her body counts toward his debt. So, you know, Kato, yeah, Kato. You know, I don't know if you gonna, you know, try to redeem yourself and find her later. In my fantasy world, that's what I think is going on. But in the real world, because I looked on, was it Wikipedia or IMBD, and Debbie is only on 3 episodes. So I think this is her 3. So I think we're not going to see her the rest of the season. Now, maybe next season we'll see her. Maybe you'll rescue her. But we haven't seen you trying to rescue your family. And before, or look for your wife or your kids. Remember when Rosalie's real life brother came on, and he was trying to get freedom, and then he had found, this was last season, he had run up on this man, John, Elizabeth's husband, who had been involved with the sale of his wife, and he just went crazy. He like, oh hell no, you know where my wife is, you giving me some information. We don't see Kato out here using his money and his resources. Now if he's doing it when we can't see him, we don't know, but they haven't represented you in that way, brother. The edit has it looking like, you know, you just out here, you know, being mean-spirited. Get some healing, get some help. You know, you don't have to be forever in the sunken place, Kato. You can come out. Come on out, brother. Come on out. Put some cotton in your ears. I'm praying for you, brother. Okay, so then we have Noah, Rosalie, and James. So, Noah and Rosalie are back down south. They run into the traveling salesman, Frog Jack, from season 1. They're trying to figure out how to connect with Mama Ernestine. There are some beautiful aerial shots of the Macon plantation work camp prison, and it really is really huge, and you get a whole different perspective. Or we heard how large and how hard it was to get off of Macon land before, but now that we're seeing it and we know that they're on the land, we know it just gives me the feeling it's going to be really hard for them to get off again. We see but the aerial shots were really beautiful, I thought. So we get that, and then they're looking for their not Ernestine, but Rosalie has decided to go someplace and wait where she knows her mama is gonna be. She's there waiting, and as soon as the woman comes out, I see the keys on her, and Rosalie is like, that's not my mama, that's so and so. And then she's like, where's my mama? And Noah's like, oh well, she probably has her doing something. And then Rosalie sees the keys, and she's like, oh Lord, because you know keys are like a sign of power and prestige. So her mother used to have the keys. The house girl in season 1, when they were, or was it this season? I think it was season 1, when they had gone to the doctor's house, she had the keys, and she said, if anything like my mama, she had the keys. I'm reading a Walter Mosley piece, and he's a custodian. I think he said he had 300 keys. So, and you know, I heard a comedian or somebody say the number of keys, you know, shows how established you are in life. But, you know, so I thought that whole key thing was really interesting. So she realizes that, you know, not Ernestine, but Miss Rosalie knows something is up. Ernestine don't have the keys. She ain't running things. She don't necessarily know she ain't there. But then the next scene, or the next thing that I have written down, is that this former house girl who Rosalie had already mentioned as, I can't remember her name, sorry, but Rosalie had already mentioned as somebody who, when her mother, Ernestine, used to sneak her baby brother James into the big house to sleep, that this house girl had turned, she thinks that this house girl is the one who told on him, and so she doesn't trust her. And then that's who Noah brings back, who has the gossip and has the information and knows that Ernestine has been sold. Rosalie is like, well, there is a ledger that used to be kept in Monster's office. You know, that's the only time they write down what's up with us, when they selling us or when they buying us. But she is probably written down in there. And then the house girl, who's not a house girl anymore, she out in the fields. She's like, oh, I know where that is. That's at the drum drunk Bill's place. And then Rosalie is like, drunk Bill, I thought I killed him, but she didn't kill him. We know, but she doesn't know. And he's mad. Oh, Married at First Sight at 8. So it's kind of like this issue of, can they trust this house girl? Because they make a plan. Can they trust this house girl? Oh, they make the plan, the B plan. The Bill, that's the first B. Who's still a sloppy drunk. They got to get in there and he catalyzed. He was the one that sort of caused Rosalie and Noah to run earlier than they were planning to run, because he tried to rape her and she had stabbed him in his throat and thought he was dead. And even if he wasn't dead, her ass needed to leave at that point because she was going to be in trouble, or, you know, she was going to be in trouble even if she didn't leave. But they want to get with Bill and get that book, because the book has the record of the coming and the going of the enslaved. And then they want to get Ernestine's baby boy, lil bro James, and then bide our time and get off the plantation. And then there's the Christmas gift unwrapping. Oh no, I'm on the wrong. Those were all of the B's. So they have that's their plan B. B. And then they're waiting for Miss Ladybug to come back. I guess the house girl that Rosalie doesn't trust. They don't know if they can trust or whatever. And we got the 4 W's. We got waiting and worrying. That's what Rosalie really talks about. But also she gives Noah a Christmas gift. So he's unwrapping. That's the other W. And then resting, which is really an R. But you know how we do reading, writing, and arithmetic. So we got the 4 W's. Waiting, worrying, wrapping or unwrapping, and resting. Cora is a no-show. That's her name. Cora is the former house girl who's now in the fields. And I think it does a good job to the show of showing how things are fluid. A lot of times when I hear people talking, they're like, oh, she was light-skinned. She's a house girl. Some people who were light-skinned were in the house. Some people who were light-skinned were in the fields. Some people who were mixed were light-skinned. Some people who were mixed were dark-skinned. Some people were in the fields one day and you might not be in the fields the next day. Things were fluid. You might be on a rice plantation one day and a tobacco plantation another day. Some people stay at the same place all their life. I mean, it wasn't no set rule for all of the enslaved people. So Cora is a no-show after 3, 4, or 5 hours. And Rosalie is like, she sold us down the river. Noah's like, I don't know. Rosalie is like, we gotta go. He like, we ain't going no place till you tell me the plan. Rosalie is like, okay, well, this is the plan. Noah, you go get the green ledger out of the drunk Bill's house. I'm gonna go get my baby brother, and then we gonna meet up at the stables. And Noah is like, cool. He does his part. He have a little trouble. He get the books. Rosalie is trying to do her part. She goes into the house. She finds her baby brother. He's sleeping. She covers his mouth up and wakes him up. She's like, it's me, your sister, Rosalie. I'm here to rescue you. And baby brother James is like, help! And they sound alarms. Child, James is up there living the life of luxury. He think he living the life of luxury, but like his mama say in this episode, don't nothing good come from this world, come from their world. Even when you think you live in the life, it's you jacked up. You jacked up and you don't even know you jacked up and you think everything is all good. But he don't want to go with Rosalie. He want to stay with Miss Susanna in the big house, riding on horses and living this luxurious life that he's living. That's, again, temporary. You know, he feels like he has a lot of freedom, but, you know, anyway. So she joyfully tells him he's there to rescue her. And then so they sound the alarm and Rosalie gets caught. Noah is watching there. She's inside of a structure. Noah is watching from the outside of the structure. He got his gun. He getting ready to shoot. Rosalie is like, don't shoot. You know, she's shaking her head at him, motioning him not to shoot. And Bill is holding a brand. He's going to put a brand on her face, maybe R for runaway or C. I don't know what he's going to put on her face, but it's hot. It's going to burn her. It's not a good thing. It's the same situation that's happened to, from what we heard from Cato, it's what's happened to him. It's just part of the general cruelty that happens, you know, to black and brown people. But Noah's about to shoot. Rosalie is motioning him not to shoot. She tells Bill, but she's really trying to tell Noah, I'm with child. So that's when Noah finds out that she's pregnant And I don't know if he realizes that he's the father, but and then Bill brands her. And that's actually the end of the episode. But we got to go back to Miss Ernestine and Miss Missy Clara and Monster Matthew. And that music, when they come to that first scene with Clara, that music is so hot to me. It sounds so good. But Miss Missy Clara is seeing herself in mirrors all over Monster Matthew's house. And I think I saw a mirror in the scene with Rosalie, but by then I had already, I had missed some stuff. But we see Miss Clara looking in mirrors several times, and she is really liking what she's seeing. And she's holding the big house, or the place where they hold the headquarters of holding people hostage and torturing them. Tell them, Bella. And she's feeling herself. There's a dog running down the street with a woman. Yes, Bella. It's okay. And she's seeing herself all in these mirrors, and she is feeling herself. Hush up, hush, 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 hush up. Now, Miss Missy is feeling herself. She is feeling powerful over all these folks and situations. She done got rid of the drug trade for her dad. She done made arrangements to get Ernestine sent to the mainland as per Ernestine's request / demand. She done got Hicks beat and all caged up for herself because she want revenge, because she's mad about that forced abortion. But she's it's not enough. She wants revenge. She's not happy. And what I didn't tell you is that when back to Kato and revenge, because maybe that's what it is. When Debbie says, "You're just a bad man," Kato starts to tear up. His eyes, he's crying. And so maybe she really hurt his feelings and he wants revenge. Okay. So, she wants revenge. She wants, Hicks dead. She wants Hicks dead. And, Ernestine is trying to guide her. Don't get into this murderation business. It's not a good look. You're not going to be happy. Just trust me and believe me that murdering people, even if you do it through somebody else, it's not going to feel good. You think that's what you want to do, but baby girl, that's not what you want to do. But baby girl, Miss Missy Clara is not receptive at all. And she tells, Ernestine, I know you know how to make roots. You're going to make me a poison. And her father, she runs into her father. Her father comes over to check on her because he been hearing stuff. He like, I heard you was sleeping with that buckra. I had to come and check. And she like, dang, daddy, you coming over here. You ain't checking on me. You ain't asking how I'm doing. She trying to be gracious and sweet to him. He don't care nothing about her. All he care about is what man has been up in her pussy, or what man she's sleeping with, or what man got her pregnant. All he concerned about is the men. Patriarchy. He ain't concerned about his daughter. And that really annoys her. She don't care nothing about me, and I'm your baby. Steen is trying to intervene and feed Monster Matthew words and ideas and instructions, and he bites. The Monster's 24 is missing. I think 24 must be some kind of alcohol. And baby girl Miss Missy is like, I don't care nothing about that. And Ernestine is like, well, something that expensive, he want to know what's up. And baby girl Miss Missy is like, well, shoot, tell him you served it to me. And she says, I'm listening and learning. That's what you told me to do. That's how you stay one step ahead. And I learned that lesson good, didn't I? This is Miss Missy Clara talking. It seems like, and Ernestine is like, it seems like it. And Miss Missy Clara is like, well, you should be proud. I'm doing better than even you. And she reclined. We see her throughout the episode. She trying on clothes. She got clothes. She doing strip teases. She's just really feeling herself. And she's just really feeling accomplished. And like, life is just good. She's very happy and proud of herself. And she say, I'm doing better than even you. I ain't serving Matthew. He practically serving me. Maybe one day I'll be the mistress. And Ernestine say, girl, I know it feel like freedom, but it ain't. Ain't nothing good that can come from their world. And baby girl, she don't want to hear that. War is all Matthew talk about. He want me to go riding on these horses. So anyway, we hear again a mention of war, because we're close to the Civil War. So all of that is kind of coming up. And she mentions this war, and then she says, yeah, monster Matthew said something to me the other day, and she repeats it to Ernestine, and Ernestine is like, yeah, that's a good idea, don't be going around killing people. And Miss Missy Clara is like, I know you fed that to him. You think I'm dumb, but I'm smart, and I'm smarter than you, and I done took I done learned what you taught me, and I got it better than you. And so they're eating and talking, and she, Missy Clara is like, and I'm still mad at you because you knew I didn't want to have that abortion. You are a mother, and you knew I didn't want to and so she basically, as she's talking, she's waiting for Ernestine to die, and at some point she realizes that Ernestine does not die, and she had ordered her to make her a poison. She said, if you don't make me this poison, then I'm gonna have Monster Matthew not send you to the mainland, and I'm gonna have him punish you. She's threatened, and the little girl got a little taste of power, and she done gone all the way, full out with it. How when you're young, you think you learn a little something, you think you know everything, and that's how she is. But she thinks she done poisoned Steen. Steen didn't make poison. Steen made something else. So she tried to Steen. She tried to poison. Bella putting her butt in my face, speaking of poison. She tried to poison the head poisoner. She trying to run game on the gamer. I don't know if she the head gamer, but Ernestine ain't new to the game, and she ain't no young girl. And she said, I know you want blood, but you can't have my blood, Miss Missy. She ain't say it like that, but basically. Somehow Steen, and I couldn't really figure out what's going on. There was like this montage, but I think it was something about the 24. She got this bottle of 24. I don't know if it's a really expensive wine or alcohol, and she used it to buy her freedom, or maybe it's something else, but she used it to escape, and she's just ahead of Miss Missy Clara. Miss Missy Clara is in bed with Matthew. Now, if you really love me, then you'll go get this Ernestine, because I don't like her, or whatever she's saying, and she's strutting, through the quarters with the white men behind her, about to put Miss Ernestine in check. Oh, you're not gonna let me poison you? Oh, okay, I got something for you. And when she gets there, Ernestine is already gone. Ernestine is it appears to be free, because she gets off this boat and she takes this deep breath. I don't know what happened, but there's like some stuff underneath, some boards she lifts up in the 24. I don't know what happened. Fill me in. But Ernestine takes a breath. It's like she's breathing free air, and then she bumps into one guy, and then the next guy that she runs into is Super Slave Hunter August. So I guess Super Slave Hunter August was able to just call Missy Suzanne and find out where Ernestine was. So he was on his way. He was at the mainland, probably about to take a boat over to the island, and then he run into Ernestine. So that's the end of that. We don't know what happened with that, but he's a super slave hunter. I know, he'd be lucky like a mug. So that's it. Oh my God, we're 37 minutes with Underground, but we back, baby, and it's better than before. I don't know if we're back, but it was like a little respite. It was a rest with Mama Harriet. So thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Are you watching? Do you love it? Be you, be fabulous you. Mwah.